Today, Jimmy in Cleveland will start this segment off. Jim, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What's going on?
Chris, the thing I miss the most about your show is that Karen Carpenter
yeah,
stuff.
I do. I miss the Karen Carpenter. And I'm reading a book right now, a good one that came out 2 or 3 years ago on the making of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And I've been very into that. About 70-something pages in. We'll do a little Mary Tyler Moore contest-wise and do a little Mary Tyler Moore when we get to Minneapolis in a couple of weeks. So there you go. Fire away.
As a couple things. One is, as a Yankee fan, if we get Darvish, I'll throw up in my mouth. I mean, if Cashman signs Darvish, that's an example of why he's not a great GM. Any other GM would not get away with the Carl Pavanos, the Kevin Browns of the world this many times, and if he does it again, I just can't tolerate it.
I don't understand that move either. Listen, you can't argue with the job Cashman's done with all the young players and the trades and everything else, but that trade, that signing makes no sense. Darvish vomited and urinated all over himself in the World Series. Everybody makes a big deal about the 2 games he pitched in the postseason. Prior to that, he pitched in a 2-0 lead in both, 5 innings in both. Not a big deal. It wasn't like he went 9 innings on the road both games were on the road, but he didn't go 9 innings down 2-1 in a game he had to have. So to me, and he was never great for Texas in big spots. Go ask the Blue Jays. I would never, ever get him signed. I'm surprised the Yankees are interested. I got to be honest. Go ahead.
Yeah, he would pull a Kevin Brown if he came to Yankee Stadium. Better Call Saul, by the way, is even better than Breaking Bad, just so you know.
Well, I've been watching. I watched the last 2. I watched 2 episodes of Breaking Bad last night, and Saul finally got in a mix. So I saw 2 episodes of him late in season 2, so now I got a little better feel on him. Go ahead. Next.
Yeah, it's an absolutely great show. So my bucket list things, I don't know if you mentioned these, but there are 3 things I haven't done, but I came close to doing one of them in Indianapolis. One is Kansas Fog Allen.
Well, I mentioned that yesterday. It's an arena I would like to go to, too. I agree. Next.
I think I might be going there this spring, so I'll tell you how it goes. The other is Butler's Fieldhouse, where they filmed Hoosiers.
I agree with that, too. We mentioned that yesterday. Hinkle Fieldhouse. I, for some reason, didn't go a couple of years ago. Went in Indianapolis. I agree that's a building that you have to see. Go ahead. Next.
Yeah, and then the final, and I love NHL hockey playoffs, but I'm not a big hockey guy, but Frozen 4 or Bean Pot?
I'm not as wrapped up in the Frozen 4. I know everybody loves that event. I'm not as wrapped up in that. I wouldn't mind going to Montreal for a week in a postseason series to see the Canadian fans get all revved up with their team. The 2 that I have missed that are I wanted to go see Maple Leaf Gardens, never did. I wanted to see the old Montreal Forum, and never did. So those 2 bother me. I did see the Boston Garden. I did see Chicago Stadium, but I didn't see those 2 in Canada. I probably should have made it my effort, and I did not do that. Rich in Florida, aboard here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Richard, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Doggy. How's it going?
Fine, Rich. Nice to talk to you. What's on your mind now? Let me hear.
Let's see now. Last week, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. What is Mariota going to have to do in order to not lose the game, but also manage it comfortably in order to win?
Well, number one, run the ball well. He's going to have to be a factor with his legs. You're going to have to give. He's got no DeMarco Murray in the game, so he's going to have to go out there and he's going to have to be a threat from a running perspective. Obviously, you know the Patriots are going to take Derrick Henry away. He is a master, Belichick, of taking the one thing away that you want to do. So yeah, he's going to take Henry away, which means they're going to have to get some running from somewhere. And, those 3rd and 7 scrambles for first downs, he's going to have to make 2 or 3 of them in the game, at least. That's number one.
It seems like to me that he may also have to check off a little bit more to his tight end as well in order to get some good power running if they're going to take Henry away from them.
Walker's his favorite target. Now, he always goes to him. He'd like to get a big game out of Corey Davis, the rookie. He needs to make a couple of plays. Listen, it's a tall order, Rich, in order to beat this team. It's a very tall order. Now, Phil played it differently than I did. Phil thought conservatively, muck up the game, that kind of thing. I very rarely see a team be able to do that against them in Foxborough. I think you got to outscore them. Now, again, they're not equipped to score 30 points, so that makes it tricky, too. Here's Huck in Missouri, Mad Dog Unleashed. Huck, good afternoon. How are you today?
Doing pretty good, Chris. Before I get into the playoff football this weekend, I got to tell you, pal, I envy you, buddy, because I remember the first time I watched Breaking Bad, how much I enjoyed it. I tell you something, buddy, when you get into season 3 and season 4, I'm telling you, there'll be days where you'll want to take off work because you want to stay at home and watch it.
Oh, it's that good.
You think it's good now?
No, it's good. The only thing I have an issue with Breaking Bad is I find it mind-boggling to me that the brother-in-law is a DEA agent and a good one. This is a guy that is never around. He's gone forever. He's got 2 phones, and he's got every piece of lab equipment right there in his science deal at the school, and somehow he's not a suspect. That is hard to believe when you get right down to it. Who could be possibly making this pure meth but him? I mean, Walter White. I mean, who could possibly be not me? I mean, the equipment came from his lab. How in the world do they think it's not him? It's hard to believe. You may continue.
Listen, I understand what you're saying, but you'll find out that Hank is more brawn than brains. You will find that out later on. Okay. That's all I'm going to say.
That's fair.
Now, as far as the playoff football, I'm going to be rooting hard for Drew Brees and Matt Ryan. You know, Chris, I called about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, the AFC's the NFC South. You were high on it. Yes, go ahead.
It's going to be tough for me to watch Nick Foles and Case Keenum play a football game. It's just going to be tough for me. So I'm going to be rooting hard for Brees and Ryan. And you know what? How I feel about the Patriots. I don't think the Tennessee Titans have any chance at all. I agree with Phil. You know, something about Jacksonville. You know, I think that Le'Veon Bell and, you know, him running his mouth, I'm just kind of worried. Is he focused? Is he focused on this game? He's worried more about his contract and when he's going to get paid. I don't know. I think Jacksonville might surprise the people. Matter of fact, why not? I'm going to pick Jacksonville.
No, that takes guts. You're getting a touchdown, but that takes guts. Bob in Minnesota. I should say that. Bob in Florida on Minnesota, and he says hello on Mad Dog Unleashed. Robert, welcome. How are you today, pal? What do you have?
Hey, Doggy. How you doing, guy? I haven't talked to you in a long time. I've been waiting to call you about these Vikings. I didn't want to jinx myself. But I'll tell you what, Chris, the difference in this Viking team this year is they put teams to sleep. At least 5 games last year, Chris. I could see Zimmer blowing games, relying on that defense. The difference this year is they're scoring. They're not waiting on that 2-minute, last-minute drive to try to defend. Whole different team this year, Chris.
Listen, they've been a little bit more offensive-minded. I get that. They have a couple of big receivers. Diggs, Thielen's very good. They got a good tight end. They have just enough running. McKinnon and Murray, they got just enough running. You know, you would have to like them here to get out of this first game. I think the Saints are walking into a tough spot. We'll see, though. 5.5's a lot, or 5, whatever it might be. We continue here on Mad Dog Unleashed.